Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. One of my favorite times of the year, maybe not yours, because it's property tax season. But don't worry, it's okay. We're going to get you through it. Because the ladies from finance are here and ready to go. Misty Riley, it's your annual, it's not your annual checkup, it's your annual, tell us a little bit about the property taxes.
Yeah, so let's start with tax bills were mailed on Monday. So we expect people will probably start seeing them come, I would guess tomorrow. Probably.
Tomorrow? Oh boy. So check your mailboxes. So you got them out early then?
A little bit, yeah. So statutorily, they're not required to be out until next week, Monday. So we always like to be on the beginning part of that, but about a week early. So
what I asked Misty here is I'm having her going to go through what the bill looks like. So when you get your bill in the mail today, tomorrow, or the next day, you're going to have an idea of just exactly what you're getting. So let's pull up the bill here and let's go through this one by one, Misty, starting at the top with your bill number.
Sure. So the bill number is in the top right corner. That is the number that we will use a lot in order to identify your particular property tax bill. You could also use your parcel number, but that's a lot more numbers. So it's a lot easier for us just to use that bill number. And if you write a check, it's very helpful if you put that on the memo line for us.
That even puts them together.
Exactly.
You like that.
Want to make sure it goes to the right spot. That's our way to double check.
Fantastic. And then moving on to the assessed value of land.
Yeah, so one of the questions that we get a lot is, how is my property tax bill calculated? And the easiest way, if you're looking at this bill, is to take what your assessed value is, which is in the kind of the middle towards the top left box, multiply it by the rate, which is the far right corner of that box, and then that will calculate out to your net tax bill before the credits are considered, before special charges and that type of a thing. So if you look over in the right corner, that net assessed value tax rate, you'll see it on the example bill that we have is a Verona School District bill. So it says 0.02355, blah, blah, blah. That's what people refer to commonly as the mill rate. In order to get what the number that people would more commonly refer to it as, it would be $23.56 per $1,000 of assessed value. So to get to your tax bill, you take your assessed value times that rate, and you'd be able to get that amount.
Wowza. It's a lot of information, but it's not as complicated as it sounds, I swear.
Right. And if people have concerns about their assessed value, we encourage them to reach out to the city assessor. And they can explain where it came from and look at it with them. And
let me tell you firsthand, they are very helpful staff. I know it from firsthand, and you do as well. All right, moving on then to our, what's this, our assessment ratio? Yeah, so the assessment ratio basically is the relationship between the assessed values, which are set by the city assessor, and the equalized value, which is more of a global citywide number set by the state. So in order to get to the total estimated fair market value, you would take the assessed value, calculated by a city assessor, multiply it by that ratio, and that's how we get to this total estimated fair market value. It really isn't property by property when it said what we thought you'd be able to sell it for. It's simply looking at ratios, so that when the state sets the overall equalized value for the city, they look at sales across the entire city. So it's not parcel by parcel, it's more global. But that information is there as a reference point. Perfect. Now we move on to the actual taxing I can even say it. It's just complicated. Unbelievable. Thanks for correcting, Miss Dodge. Let's fill us in here. Yeah. So one of the common misconceptions we have is even though you pay a lot of the property tax bill at the city, the property tax bill is only about a third of actually goes to city government purposes. So listed in this box are all of the different taxing jurisdictions. You'll see the state, the county, the City of Fitchburg. Again, this one in particular is a Verona School District, but we have properties that are Madison or the Oregon School District as well, and then MATC. So this listed out compared to last year to this year how much this particular property is paying to each one of those overlying jurisdictions. One thing that's unique this year is that you'll see the state of Wisconsin is zero, and that is not an error. That is true. The state of Wisconsin is not funding their budget any longer through property taxes. It will all be through other sources. So it'll look odd that that's zero, but that is correct. Yeah, in this case, it looks like the values went down a little bit. You're not paying as much as you paid in 2016 on this bill. Am I reading that correct? Nope, you are reading it backwards. Nope, I'm sorry, I was off by one. You're a little bit more, especially in the Verona School District, they are up a little bit on theirs. Yep, and the Verona School District, and really for all of our properties, the biggest reason why bills would go up or down from one year to the next would be because of the school district, because that's about half of the bill. And if you don't mind, can I jump down to the referendum information? You betcha. So towards the bottom left, right before the tear-off piece of the bill, there was a new state law a couple years ago, I think last year was the first year,
where if a school district or any overlying jurisdiction passes a temporary or non-recurring referendum, we need to list that information on the tax bill. So again, in this example, it's the Verona School District. We approved one referendum 2 years ago and one last year, one for the land and one for the buildings. So you'll see each one of those referendums are listed on here separately. One of the questions I know we'll get is this total additional taxes amount, which is just over $3 million between the two of them. That wasn't the whole referendum. That's just the City of Fitchburg's portion of it. Oh. Because obviously more than just the City of Fitchburg pays towards the Verona School District. But the piece that's interesting are those next two columns. One is the additional taxes for this particular property. So this bill is actually paying about $1,200 towards those referendums, and that will continue until 2039. That is when that non-recurring referendum will fall off of the books.
And that's what they voted on.
That's what the voters voted on. Yep, absolutely.
At least in the Verona School District. So got to be clear here that, depending on the district is going to depend on this.
Yep. So there is a referendum information as well for the Madison School District. They also passed a referendum. The Oregon referendum that was passed a couple of years ago was a recurring one. So that isn't listed on here because it's not something that will fall off eventually. It was something that will go on.
And finally, you have marked on here for me, my notes, is the check for billing address change. It's at the bottom here. What do you got there for me?
Yep, so we can't change the actual property address. That is something that would have to be done with the Register of Deeds or through the title process. The same with the property owner. We can't change that. However, we can change where the bill actually gets mailed to. So if you go to Florida every winter and you want to be able to have your tax bill mailed down there, you can check this box and we'll make sure that that gets updated in the future.
Well, that's pretty convenient right there.
Yeah, it's very helpful. And Riley loves keeping track of all of those and making sure we send them on to the people that can get the software updated.
Oh, Riley, we are going to challenge you. We need to take a quick break here. Riley, you're up to bat next. We're going to take a break. They're going to stick around with us. We'll be right back. It's Talking Fitchburg, and we are talking property taxes. Stay tuned. Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. I have the finance department in, Riley and Misty Dodge, the finance director. We're here, and we're picking up where we left off here quickly for just the other portions of your property tax bill. Misty, I'm sorry I had to interrupt. We had to get our commercial in, okay?
Understand.
I needed to breather, process all this. Now pick us up where we left off here.
Yeah, there's a couple other things we wanted to make sure to point out, especially for people that have their primary residence within the City of Fitchburg. Another spot you're going to want to make sure is this lottery and gaming credit. So you'll want to make sure that that credit is on there. It's a reduction in the amount of property taxes you're owed. In order to get that credit, if you don't see it on there, it needs to be a primary residence for someone, whether you or your previous owner, as of the first of the year. So as of 1/1/17, if that home was a primary residence and you don't have a lottery credit on here, give the finance department a call or stop in and we'll help you fill out the paperwork that you need to in order to get that credit. It's about $150 or so.
Can you do that when you come in to make the payment?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yep. So there's a period of time where you do it with the city, and then after that you can still do what's called a late lottery credit with the state. But that's free money, more or less, to our property owners. So we want to make sure they look for that number.
Fantastic. And then real quickly here about your payments portion of this. How does that work?
Yeah, so there's also right underneath the net property tax box, there's a spot for special charges and special assessments. The one that most properties will see is the trash collection charge. This year, it's $161. It is an increase of $3 from last year. The thing that gets confusing is that this charge is actually for the 2018 property tax or service for the trash pickup. So most people will see that on there. It's $161 per unit. And then the one last thing I'd like to make sure that I let the viewers know is when they pay, where they pay. So if you pay by January 31st, whether it's your full payment, the first installment, or some amount in between, that will actually come to City Hall, either mailed or Riley can collect it, and I know she'll go through that next. If there's payments after January 31st, those actually need to go to the county, not to the city.
And we'll keep you up to date right here on the show and remind you of that as it gets closer to the time when you stop collecting and you can go to Dane County. Perfect. All right, Riley, I said you're up to bat. Let me move this just a tad bit closer. We want to be able to hear your voice. Included in the bill, as you've done in the past, is this nice insert here, and we've got a copy of it to put up as well. Let's just go through some of these points, Riley. What do we got?
The main points on the insert is basically how and where you can pay. So like Misty said, your first installment or your first payments, you can do either online. However, if you are choosing to do online, that is our third-party payment processor. Official Payments is the name, and it does do about a 3% service charge on there. So just keep in mind that that can get kind of expensive. But we do also have in-person. We will have a couple people collecting payments to keep the line moving. We have a drop box that's available 24/7 in the front foyer of City Hall. And you're always able to mail in the payments as well.
What about if you escrow? What do you do in that case?
Each escrow is a little different. Sometimes the checks we do receive from the banks themselves, or some escrow checks are given to the property owner. So we will handle each of them. If there's an overpayment, or if there is any that is still due, we can take care of that in person as well.
And I have to make note on this that City Hall does have some special hours coming up as it is the holiday season. I know you had already mentioned the Dropbox, but what are you recommending if, well, we've got our weird hours and stuff, but what do you recommend for citizens to do when we are closed?
When we are closed, we do recommend using the Dropbox. And as of, what is that date that we will backdate?
So we'll backdate anything in our Dropbox as of the end of the year or postmarked. Really as a courtesy. Some people want to show that it's paid in 2017, right, for example, even though it's not really due until 2018.
That's a good comment. With everything that's happened nationwide with the tax, are we going to see more people, an influx of people coming in and trying to get things paid off early?
I would expect, of course, all of that is still in flux.
It is in flux,
right?
Right.
It's going to all shake out, but I would guess that there'll be some people that are hedging their bets and will pay in 17 to make sure they get the deduction.
So just be patient when you come in. If there's a little bit of line, you'll get through it. What other pieces should we point out to citizens here for them stopping by and visiting, making the payments, what things come up?
Basically, just making sure that you have everything ready to go. If you do not have your tax bill, we can always print it for you. Checks can always be made payable or should be made payable to the City of Fitchburg. Like Misty had said too, make sure your parcel or your bill number is noted in the note portion of your check.
Easy enough? Mm-hmm. That's it? That's all we got? That's it? Makes it easy? I'm just kidding. Just giving you guys a hard time. I know it works out well. All right, so we got the insert. We come here, we can make the payments. You can find all of this online. Andrew, pull up the website really quick here, as you guys have included this as well. The website also has all of these frequently asked questions. Misty, anything to say on the website portion here?
We like to get out as much as we can on the website, so we definitely encourage people to check that out. It's available 24/7, which is nice. Otherwise, definitely feel free to give us a call as well. Our information and phone number and all that is on the bottom corner of the insert. We'd be happy to help with any questions.
Fantastic. You guys are making this easy every year. And you're about to fall off the stage. That's Riley for you. Just kidding. Ladies, thank you so very much for going through this. As usual, good luck with the collections. And again, before it switches to Dane County, how long do we have?
January 31st.
31st, folks. Get in here. That's all you got to do. It's easy.
At least the first installment.
Fantastic. All right. That's it. We got them. We got all your information. We'll get this posted up online so you can check it out. And again, you can hit up the website for more information. We're going to wrap up the show next. It is Talking Fitchburg.